Cam for Cam's Mortgage Minute on Monday, January 28th. Hey, I often talk to you about saving money and spending habits and the like. I mean, I'm always finger pointing at the government saying they're terrible at saving money. They're great at spending. And it seems like a recent survey that TD Canada Trust commissioned through Environics Research Group, which basically surveyed 2,407 Canadians asking their thoughts on money and savings, reinforces what I've been saying all along. That basically the old adage of a penny saved is a penny earned is a yesteryear old-fashioned notion. Nobody seems to want to do that anymore, and it looks like the penny's on the way out anyway. So I guess it validates what people are thinking and doing. And when it comes to spending and money habits, consumers in their 20s seem to be the most worried about this, and they certainly feel they're not doing enough to save enough. And however, 2 out of 3 of them do feel that they're doing a good job of managing their cash. So let me get this right. Folks in the 20s are worried about spending too much, they're not saving enough, and don't have enough, yet they think they're doing a good job of managing their cash. Anybody else see a problem with this? Anyway, boomers between 1946 and 64 think, however, that they've got it under control. I would beg to differ with some of them because I see a lot of them in here, and not all of them have it under control. And Generation Xers, those between basically 32 and 48, I think they're in better shape. And the millennials, those are the folks that I told you that are in their 20s, basically Generation Y, are the ones that do have some concerns. Now, basically it's interesting to see where everybody's at and where they see the future going. Millennials find it difficult to envision a future because for them long-term savings seem kind of unreasonable and impossible. And the bottom line is when you're in your 20s, you're not really giving that a whole lot of thought. It's all about having a good time and partying for a lot of them. Not all of them, but certainly a fair amount of them. And saving money doesn't seem to be that kind of an idea. And again, like I said before, for a lot of folks, it seems like an old-fashioned notion. And the idea of being frugal like generations past, like folks that grew up in the war era and stuff where people would, you listen to what happened during World War II and the effort that people put into saving things, materials, rationing, all kinds of things. We don't have a society that could do that today. People are just, I would say, too soft. Everybody's used to spending too much. So let's just take a look at some of these trends specifically and look at what the attitudes were of the folks that were surveyed. Percentage of people who feel they spend too much. Millennials, 65% of those surveyed. Generation X, 56%, and Boomers at 44%. Percentage who feel they need to know more about saving and investment options. Millennials at 55%, Generation X at 51%, and Boomers at 45%. Percentage who continually worry about having enough money. Millennials, 66%, Generation X, 66%, and Boomers, 56%. So it seems like 1 in 2 Canadians is constantly worried about having enough money, and in the younger generations, more like 2 out of 3. Percentage who feel confident in their money management skills. Millennials, 67%, Generation X, 70%, and Boomers, 79%. So there's people who are constantly worried about not having enough, and yet they feel they're confident in managing it. Okay. Percentage who continually feel they don't save enough money. Millennials, 71%, Generation X, 70%, and Boomers, 61%. After retirement, what's the top financial priority by generation? Millennials, it's saving for a first home. Generation X, paying off a mortgage. And Boomers, saving for a vacation. So that's it, folks. In a nutshell, that's what people's attitudes are. So, what is this telling us? Well, this is telling us that a lot of us are not totally feeling comfortable with our spending habits. We feel we don't save enough, we spend too much, and to boot, we don't know much about investment options and different kinds of things. So why could that be? Well, there was a survey that came out not too long ago that said that the average Canadian, North American, actually US and Canada, they did a broad survey, that almost 37.5 hours were spent between the internet, TV, playing games online, that sort of stuff. 37.5 hours, folks, on Facebook and all these other things that people spend time in. So, nobody has time to figure out the stuff and spend time doing this stuff because everybody's too busy doing other stuff. Anyway, I'm not here to lecture you. I'm not here to tell you that this is what you should be doing. But the bottom line is at some point it's going to catch up with a lot of folks. And I'll tell you what, for Generation Y folks, don't feel bad, because I see a lot of baby boomers in here who don't have a lot either. That means savings are not a priority, spending seems to be. So, and no different than our governments and everybody else, it seems to be an attitude across the world. I mean, you look at Europe with their crisis, debt crisis, you look at the Americans and how much they spend. It's prevalent everywhere. So, what's the solution? Start saving, start socking some aside, start paying down your debts faster. Yes, I know things that don't sound cool and fun and fashionable, but they're boring and they're not that exciting, but in the long run, they're what's going to allow you to take that vacation, sit on a sandy beach, and have a smile on your face while you're drinking a Mai Tai or whatever you're drinking. Anyway, it's been Cam for Cam's Mortgage Minute, and I will see you tomorrow.